no
Well,
doubt.
man, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out. And I'd like to begin our conversation with looking at the calendar now in April. 4 years ago, we were wrapping our heads around the pandemic. How did you make it through it? How did it change you?
I think we learned a lot about our business and what's important and what's been resilience. We learned that offices aren't quite as important as we thought they were. We learned that people didn't necessarily have to be, again, that day to day in person interaction that we put so much stock in and really limited ourselves by we were able to continue to not only do our jobs but really thrive. So it was I don't think a lot of people really saw that, nor did I think a lot of people see how it really just changed the work landscape. And personally, it was really great in the sense that it was kind of able to. I'm not saying that the pandemic was great, but we really were able to kind of work on some personal things because we weren't, on the road all the time, which was great. Spend some more time with family and still be able to do our jobs. So yeah, I think we learned a lot about resilience.
So, as the CEO of EagleView, I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders at career day. And one of the kids asks you, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
I get to solve really important problems in a lot of different industries, and I get to play with some very cool technology. Like we fly airplanes and drones and generate this really rich data that we ultimately go and help um, myriad industries, from roofing contractors and insurance companies to first responders, help them do their job more effectively. We're impacting lives every day, so the work that we do has a lot of real meaning. And it's really cool to be, talking about new camera systems and drones and all of these different emerging technologies every day. So I'm pretty blessed that way.
So, what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream?
So it was either something to do with dinosaurs or space. Um, I didn't see myself getting here by any means,
Yeah.
but there wasn't as I got older, I realized that there wasn't a lot of opportunity in dinosaurs or space. But I will tell you, with a daughter that age, I'm really pumped for her because the second one, is now a real career opportunity, and I hope she does something like that, right?
Yeah. So take me back to where you were born and raised and how these seeds of technology and being an entrepreneur and developing yourself into this role as a CEO, how did all of this become you today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I grew up in a military environment. I was an army brat, so we bounced around all over the country, really all over the world, from place to place. Really, so change became something that I became really really comfortable with. And then going through school, I was always kind of drawn to technology and engineering, and I went to college and I became an engineer. And I really like that idea of applying technology to really challenging problems. And I liked variety, that innovation, and I found myself in manufacturing in the roofing industry, and then in the intersection of roofing and insurance. And then we kind of just sort of chased a lot of these problems around, and looked for ways that could help eliminate waste in workflows by applying these types of solutions to real problems.
So talk to me a little bit about who's been an inspiration or a hero in your life.
Wow, there's so many. I'm a giant, history buff, right? So I'm always kind of reading and looking at these leaders that have faced just these incredible challenges and have been able to overcome them in the most trying of situations, right? So, I'd have to tell you, of course, these people like Churchill are major. I'm kind of a little bit obsessed right now. but
Yeah.
yeah, in my life, I've had just so many mentors that have encouraged me to continue to uh, push past boundaries, always continually develop myself, go back to school. I'm always working on trying to get more education, whether that's technology specific education or going into higher learning in MIT or and I'm always encouraging other people to do the same.
So I'm curious, as a history buff, if you could get into a time machine and go back in history and see one event with your own eyes, where are you going? What would you love to see?
One event with my own eyes. I got this question. It's crazy. I got this question the other day from my daughter. Like, what time period would you like to go back into? And I'm like, that's a really tough one because it starts to make you a big fan of where we are today.
Yeah,
Um, I would say that if there was a single event, man, that would be a really tough one. I kind of the movie Oppenheimer
yep,
got a lot of attention, and for a very sobering reason. I kind of think that moment where there was a cadre, there was a group of those physicists that didn't know whether or not when they detonated that thermonuclear bomb, whether or not the entire atmosphere was going to catch on fire, and the sobering effect of that type of innovation, and what that could mean, and not necessarily in a good way. That would be certainly something to see, right?
yeah. So speaking of technology, and you get to kind of play with it, and you've seen this develop over the decades. What do you see, say, in 10 years? Where do you see us going with technology? I know we got AI, we're on the advent, but do you see some kind of development in your world that may happen here in the 10-year window?
Yeah, that saying, predictions are hard, especially about the future, comes to mind. I would tell you that I would get my tech CEO card taken away from me if I didn't mention Gen AI in at least every conversation. But in all seriousness, I think that on the shorter term, as in the next 2 or 3 years, we don't see the Gen AI necessarily automating a bunch of tasks that are done by humans because there's just too many hallucinations in their output, and it really isn't an assist to a whether that's a writer or a legal professional. Because customer service, you're still going to have a human in the loop. I think as you start to see these large language models evolve in that 5 to 10 years, and the mass of data that starts to become available, and also as compute continues to evolve, I think you start getting into a world where you see true automation and the impact across so many sectors become a real thing. I mean, I think the way that we transact. I think that the knowledge workers across all of these industries are going to be seriously impacted in certainly in the next 10 years.
So, what is your motivation every day to wake up, to do the job that you do? There's a lot going on. What is that motivation for you to not only to do the job that you do well, but to evolve as a human?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we all want to make an impact on the world in the work that we do. I also think that we want to leave the world a little better than we found it. So, and that means that you need to continually work on yourself and involve yourself. So, I always have a goal. It's usually it should be and usually is something hard. So it's a physical thing. You're taking care of yourself, keep maintaining exercise regimens, trying to work towards whether that's a marathon or whatever it happens to be. Always having something like that, and then again, as we start to think about our businesses and where we want our businesses to go, think really big. Think how can I do something better than anybody's ever done it before, such that it makes a positive impact on the world. And those are kind of leading principles for us.
So, of all of the things that you've done as a professional, what are you the proudest of?
As a professional, I'll just tell you that I've built some just incredible teams. Our success is not any one person, but if there's one thing that I think that we've been able to do really well, and I've been able to do really well, is create an environment that that attracts talent and develops talent into people that can achieve things that they never dreamed of. And that's what I'm really proud of. And I think that when I look to hire anybody that's in management in an organization that I'm leading, if that's not your kind of core reason for wanting to lead people is to develop them and hopefully make them even better than you are, you might have your priorities in the wrong place, might not be a fit.
So, Piers, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Oh wow, that's an interesting one. What's my perception of me? I try to again stay really focused on the mission and just try to be helpful and serve the leaders around me, help remove obstacles, help be part of the solution. um, there's been a lot said about servant leadership. That's certainly something that I strive to be. Some days I'm better than other days, but I think that that's kind of what I perceive myself to be, as somebody who can help remove roadblocks and be helpful to people.
So if anyone wants to learn more about you, EagleView, anything about your world, the good business, where do they go?
Well, you can reach out to me directly. I'm on LinkedIn, and you can certainly get a hold of me. We're easily reachable, eagleview.com. Yeah, that's where you can find us.
Right on. Piers, thank you so much. Travel well. I appreciate your story and time today.
You bet.
Thank you, sir.